in a military
Perhaps in the
family.
memories of
His
many from
father
the
was a
60s
U.S.
and
Air
70s
Force pilot.
generations,
The
Bobby
John
Sherman was more
Denver
than just a
mystery.
name.
Finally,
He was the
appreciation for the
radiant smile on
vastness and
posters
natural
adorning
beauty of the
walls,
solved
the
and
echoing love
isn't
melodies
good.
from
In
old
him, both a
radios,
sense of
the adoring
rootlessness
gaze of the
and a
teen
deeper
idol
that
who
would
made
later
countless young
define the
girls'
American
hearts flutter.
landscape.
He
Themes that
arrived like a cool
these
breeze,
early years
bringing hits
instilled in
like Little
Roswell,
Woman
New
and Easy
Mexico.
Come, Easy Go,
Denver
painting a
experienced
beautiful,
a
dreamy youth.
John Denver
But
was
then, like
born
a
Henry
dream, he
John
gradually faded
Deutschendorf
away.
Jr. on December
Without
31st,
fanfare, without a flowery
1943,
farewell,
in
Bobby
traumatic
Sherman simply
childhood,
left the
moving
spotlight,
frequently
leaving
across
behind
the
countless
country.
questions and a vast emptiness in the hearts of his fans. What truly happened? What emotions did that smile, those eyes, conceal that we never knew, hidden behind what seemed like such a peaceful final goodbye? The pressure cooker weighing on the idol's shoulders. If one were to only look at faded black and white photos or yellowed color films, one would see a Bobby Sherman always radiant, full of energy on stage in front of the camera. The relentless flashing lights, the excited screams of thousands of young girls, the packed recording contracts, the dense filming schedules that was a life millions dreamed of. Yet, few knew that behind that shimmering velvet curtain, there existed an invisible pressure cooker slowly weighing down the young man's shoulders. Try to imagine each day was a non-stop whirlwind. Mornings in the recording studio, afternoons on set, evenings performing in another city, and nights spent buried in endless long flights. Sleep became a luxury. Every action, every word was scrutinized, judged. Privacy completely vanished. Bobby was no longer himself. He was a public product, always having to be perfect, always cheerful, always meeting the expectations of millions of fans and the colossal entertainment industry machine. He had to be every girl's dream boy, a flawless role model. It was this harsh contrast between the dazzling public image and the lonely, exhausted reality that began to erode his soul. He was no longer free to be Robert Cabot Sherman, Jr., the young man with simple hobbies, with private thoughts. Instead, he was Bobby Sherman, the idol who always had to smile, no matter how empty or weary he felt inside. There were nights, perhaps, when he just wanted to sleep deeply, to walk alone on the street without being mobbed, to do ordinary things like everyone else. But that was impossible. The pressure to create, the pressure to maintain his position, the pressure to constantly innovate so as not to be forgotten in the cutthroat entertainment world, all of it created a terrible psychological burden. Gradually, the spotlight no longer brought joy, but transformed into a gilded cage. Perhaps the smiles on his lips then were not expressions of complete happiness, but a terrifying professionalism, an effort to conceal the fatigue, the unspoken worries that only he bore. And that, precisely, was the first hidden pain creeping into every corner of the young idol's soul. Farewell to the spotlight. The more dazzling the spotlight, the deeper the darkness within. At some point, the physical and mental exhaustion reached its limit. Perhaps it was in the loneliest moments after thousands of cheers that Bobby Sherman realized this life wasn't what he truly desired. It wasn't an impulsive decision, but an entire process of persistent inner struggle, a silent battle between the longing to be himself and the responsibility of an idol. Like a candle burning too quickly, too brightly, only to realize it was consuming itself without seeing its purpose anymore. The idol had everything the glamorous world could offer: peak fame, abundant wealth, and passionate love from millions of fans. He was a name mentioned daily, a face appearing across all media. Yet deep within his soul, Bobby lacked the most fundamental and simple essence of a human being: peace, the freedom to control his own life, and the private space to breathe. The concept of a normal life had become a luxurious dream, a promised land he yearned to set foot in. He wanted to sleep deeply without the alarm clock for the next interview. He wanted to enjoy a quiet dinner with his family, sharing stories unrelated to chart rankings or TV ratings. He wanted to walk alone on the street without being surrounded by crowds, without being followed by prying eyes. He wanted to pursue his personal hobbies, to learn new things without fearing that his image as a pop star would be affected. The desire to escape that glittering yet confining golden cage grew stronger each day until it became an undeniable call, a command from the depths of his heart. And then the historic decision was made. What stunned fans and the entire entertainment industry was how Bobby Sherman executed it. Not with a loud announcement in major newspapers, not with a grand farewell tour to salvage some last shred of fame. Bobby Sherman chose to quietly withdraw, almost disappearing from public view. He did not want to turn his departure into yet another drama of the entertainment industry, a prearranged spectacle filled with tears and regret. It was a decisive, unspoken yet powerful farewell to a glorious but also weary and lonely past. Many fans were bewildered, shocked. A star at his peak, with so many contracts awaiting, so many hits ready for release, why would he give it all up? That question lingered in the air, with no official answer sufficient to alleviate their disappointment. They didn't understand the hidden pain that had silently torn Bobby apart, didn't comprehend the invisible burden he carried. They didn't know that Bobby wasn't giving up fame because of failure or being past his prime, but because he had conquered himself, had enough courage to choose happiness and inner peace over superficial, fleeting glamour. This was a brave decision, a profound trade-off, trading a brilliant career to find his true self again, to rediscover simple yet enduring values that the spotlight could not provide. That farewell for Bobby was not an end, but a door opening to a new, more authentic, more meaningful chapter in his life. It was a painful but necessary choice, so that his heart could heal and live a full life on its own terms. Perhaps the fans' tears at the time were for the loss of an icon, but if they had understood Bobby's innermost feelings, those tears would have been for empathy and understanding for a man who sacrificed everything to find peace. Finding a new purpose in a white coat. When the stage door closed, another door opened, leading Bobby Sherman to a completely different life, a life without flashbulbs, without noisy concerts, but full of meaning and serenity. He did not choose to hide away in a luxurious villa or live a leisurely life with his accumulated wealth. Instead, Bobby decided to pursue a path that had long quietly simmered in his heart. A career serving the community as an emergency medical technician, EMT, and later as a firefighter and police officer. The transition from a pop idol to a life-saving professional was not easy. It was a rigorous learning process, demanding patience, courage, and a high degree of responsibility. Bobby spent years studying, undergoing systematic training, and passing certification exams. He did not rely on his past fame to gain favor. He started from scratch, like an ordinary person eager to contribute. The image of the romantic idol on stage was replaced by that of a man in uniform, his face smudged with dust, his hands calloused from work, and his eyes filled with focus, concerned for the lives of others. In this new role, Bobby was no longer an object of admiration from afar. He was someone who directly confronted critical situations, the physical and emotional pain of others. He was the first to arrive at accident scenes, the one making split-second life-or-death decisions, the one holding the hope of desperate families. Each time he saved a life, each time he saw a grateful look, the fulfillment in his soul grew. It was a kind of happiness utterly different from the cheers of thousands of concertgoers. It was a simple, authentic joy stemming from knowing that he had made a tangible difference, something truly meaningful. This new life brought Bobby Sherman something that fame could not, peace and precious anonymity. He was no longer pursued, no longer had to wear the mask of an idol. He was Robert Cabot Sherman, Jr., a devoted citizen, a father, a friend, and a silent hero in his community. He found solace in hard but noble work, in genuine relationships based on respect rather than blind adoration. Leaving the spotlight was not the end of a legend, but the beginning of a more meaningful life. Bobby Sherman proved that true happiness lies not in what others see, but in what one feels in one's own heart. An enduring legacy. When Bobby Sherman left the entertainment world, it wasn't just the disappearance of a star, but a huge question mark in the minds of millions of fans. His departure, which came without any flowery explanations or farewell concerts, left an indescribable void. Initially, there was perhaps confusion, disappointment, and even a touch of frustration. They mourned the unreleased hits, the unfinished roles, and an idol's image that seemed to have ended too soon. However, as time passed and the story of Bobby Sherman's new life gradually unfolded, public perception began to change. From regret, it shifted to admiration and deeper understanding. They realized that, behind that seemingly giving-up choice, lay a journey to find true happiness and a desire to live a meaningful life on his own terms. Those who once dreamed of the handsome singer now held even greater respect for the brave man who abandoned the limelight to serve society. Bobby Sherman's legacy is now not merely encapsulated in immortal melodies or once famous films. It is also the story of a person who dared to place self-worth, inner peace, and life's purpose above all the temptations of fame. He became a living testament that sometimes the greatest success lies not in reaching the peak others define, but in finding true meaning in the life one chooses. Bobby Sherman taught us a valuable lesson about the price of fame, and above all, about the courage to listen to the call from deep within one's heart. He remains a beautiful memory for a generation, but now his image is imbued with a new layer of meaning. The image of a silent hero who chose to help others instead of merely glorifying himself. His farewell, initially seemingly a hidden pain, is now understood as an act of liberation, a search for authentic happiness. Bobby Sherman's story is not just a remembrance of a pop star who once topped the charts. It is a quiet epic of courage, sacrifice, and an unceasing journey to find the true meaning of life. We saw a young man standing at the pinnacle of glory, yet concealing an invisible pain beneath the dazzling stage lights. We witnessed his courageous decision to abandon all material glamour, listening to the call from deep within his soul to find peace. Bobby Sherman showed the world that true happiness is not what others see in you, but what you feel in your own heart. He chose a more meaningful life, where he directly touched the lives of those in need, where every small act brought greater value than any hit song. His farewell to the spotlight, which initially might have caused many to regret and cry out of disappointment, is now, in retrospect, met with tears of understanding and admiration. That hidden pain was not a weakness, but the motivation for him to find his own path, a path leading to serenity and a legacy greater than fame itself. Bobby Sherman's story forever remains a powerful reminder to us. Do you ever feel trapped in some golden cage? Do you have enough courage to listen to the voice from deep within your soul and choose a different path, even if it seems difficult and misunderstood by others? If this story has touched your heart, don't hesitate to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on Bobby Sherman or any story about the courage to let go and find true happiness.
Which captured the
Let's spread
awe
these
and
meaningful
reverence he
stories
felt for
together.
the mountains
And
and
don't forget to
wilderness.
follow our channel so you don't
This
miss out
song
on
was
other
so deeply
profound and
associated
inspiring
with the
content.
state and its identity.